Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to have you here with us at the BFI London Film Festival 2024. Maybe you could begin with a brief introduction to your film. What can people expect when they watch it?
Sure. So I have made a film called Motherboard, and the story starts when at 38 I found myself single, pregnant and broke, and my son is now 20. So obviously I decided and went ahead, and the film is about 20 years of parenting, really. And you see my son grow up on camera, from pregnancy scan footage in the womb to giving me grief as a teenager to turning into an extremely lovely 20-year-old. And it is about the highs and lows of raising him as a solo mother, because his dad wasn't involved at all. And he does meet his dad when he's a teenager, closely followed by a breast cancer diagnosis for me. So it charts the very difficult when it's a lone parent and you're going through cancer. And I'm recovered, that was 7 years ago. But yeah, it's the dark, difficult stuff of motherhood, as well as the joy, because I hate all of the sort of cliches of the sad, tragic single parent. And I think there is a kind of superpower, actually, to raising a kid on your own. You learn to be extremely self-sufficient and resilient. And he's the best thing that ever happened to me, And the film's also about being a filmmaker as a woman, and how that I had to come out of the industry for 12 years, because there was no way I could be a self-shooting director. That was my first career. And I had to let it go for 12 years, went into teaching instead, and then used the smartphone as a way back in, because you can work for no budget and it's got a great intimacy. So the film is also about that. It's about the challenges of working mothers and raising kids, and how do you stay creative? And is the death of creativity the pram in the hallway? I would say not. I put my camera on the pram in the hallway. So yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, that is such an innovative approach. I mean, I guess in some ways it was out of necessity filming on a smartphone, but it's also kind of, breaking new ground in terms of what you're able to do with that. And I know you initially had sort of a short film, and then it sort of grew into this feature. Where did it all begin? When did you get the idea to do it?
So I think I went to see Sean Baker's new film last night, and Tangerine, was really the first feature drama to be shot on a smartphone. I think it was shot on the iPhone 6, and that was a revelation for me. And so I started to film on a smartphone, and it's fantastic in terms of the access and the intimacy, but also budget, because I've gone a long, long time. It's very difficult raising feature funding, but I could keep shooting and shooting. And then it's brilliant in terms of access. It means that you can follow Werner Herzog advice to filmmakers, which is ask for forgiveness, not permission, because you can film on buses and trains and in hospitals. When I was going through cancer treatment, nobody's intimidated by a smartphone. So like nurses and radiographers would sometimes set up a shot for me as I was going into a CT scanner, and I would never have got access for a big crew and a sound person. And so I won't ever go back. I think it's a great sort of guerrilla filmmaking tool, and I will keep making films with smartphones. I love them.
And I was also thinking of Richard Linklater's Boyhood, which of course is fictional, but also a labour of love. The fact that it was over so many years, and yours is kind of the real version.
Huge influence, in a way that in Boyhood you watch the boy grow up on camera, you watch my son grow up on camera in Motherboard. And then also a huge influence because there are no heroes and villains in Boyhood in terms of parenting. So you see the strengths of their parenting, but you also see their flaws. You see when they're being self-destructive or narcissistic as parents. But there's a humanity about parenting and family life that I think Richard Linklater's Boyhood captures brilliantly, and it was definitely a big influence for me.
The impact of the way that you're, documenting this period of time, documenting someone growing up, and also your, position as a motherhood, things you're going through personally, is you really bring the audience so close into your sort of intimate life. Yeah. Was that something that you ever felt kind of intimidated about? But also on the flip side, what do you think the power of that is? Seeing that, rather than necessarily trying to create a narrative as such, it's just showing life as it is lived.
I think for me it was easier because I'm used to a kind of autobiography sort of in terms of filmmaking, and I think I find it quite cathartic. For my son, I think it was really difficult because the short films I'd made, he was under 13, and it was lovely and there was no difficulties. And then the feature film shows his difficult teen years and some much darker times. So he's always had power of veto. So we never use any material that he's not happy with. But tougher for him, and I think he once said to me, I'm quite torn because it's quite hard being a mother and a director. And I said to him, look, we're not going to use anything that you're not happy with. And he said, I can't see how you can make a film about parenting if you don't show the shit stuff as well. And I thank him forever, really, for the maturity in that, because that's a big thing. You know, he was just in probably 18, 19 when he said that to me. And I think the film is stronger for seeing the difficult bits, but they were hard. And there's not everything of our lives in there, but there's a lot. There is still quite a lot of the difficult stuff.
And ultimately, what do you hope people will take away from watching the film? Like you say, having this insight into the reality of being a mother, a single mother, both the good and the bad aspects, what it might be like to try and carry on a film career when you become a parent, and what do you hope people take away?
I think ultimately it is a celebration of the plate spinning that many women do in terms of how, forging a career and looking after kids and remembering to look after yourself on occasion. And I think it is a celebration of motherhood, but it's also an unfiltered and unromantic portrait of motherhood, which in a way we've seen loads of in great dramas, but not so much in documentary. So I hope it fills that gap.
And finally, what does it mean to you to have the film here at London Film Festival? And I do feel like, you're seeing more and more female-made films, whether that's in documentary or in fiction filmmaking, but maybe that balance could also still be better.
It means a lot, and actually there's been a bit of press which is about how many films in the festival are exploring the complexities of motherhood. So it's like a privilege to be part of that and to feel that we're adding to conversations about motherhood and representations of women and middle-aged women. I'm nearly 60, and you see that. You see aging as well. You see Jim grow up on camera, you see me get older, so I think all of those things still feel quite new, and I'm glad to be adding good material to get those debates going.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing
Pleasure.
with me. Huge congratulations on the
Thank
film.
you.
I really enjoyed presenting it here at
Great.
London. Thanks so much. Yeah, I know. It's wonderful. Thank you.